Okay, so let's get that out of there. Okay, so Joey and Phoebe had quite the discussion about whether there is such a thing as doing a good deed without any benefit to yourself. And that's kind of where psychologists, philosophers, other people have really gotten kind of stuck, is that, well, what do you mean by reward? What do you mean by expectation? It's kind of hard to define whether a person is behaving in the helpful way with the expectation of a reward, when sometimes rewards come to us incidentally without us knowing that they're going to come. So it's quite difficult to define. Whoops. Sorry. Push the wrong button. Others have defined altruism as not only not expecting a reward, but helping somebody else to our own detriment, where we're inconvenienced, or we are hurt, or it costs us something. I think Phoebe was going with that definition when she let the bee sting her. She's like, see, now he gets to look tough in front of his bee friends. I'm in pain. And then she finds out that actually the bee's not looking tough in front of his friends because he died. So it didn't work for her on that one. But a lot of times people think about altruism as being, it only is true altruism if not only did you not get a reward, but you actually got some kind of cost. So we look at cases like PFC Ross A. McGinnis, who saved the lives of 4 soldiers who were riding with him on a mission in Baghdad. And he was manning the gunner's hatch when an insurgent tossed a grenade from above. It flew past him and lodged inside the truck. He yelled, "Grenade!" It's in the truck, and covered the grenade with his own body. He could have just saved himself and left his friends to try and scramble out of the hatch, but instead he protected all of them with his own body. I'd like to think we don't have to maybe go to that length to be considered altruistic. I'm going to try and avoid this whole debate, though, even though I tried to get you guys to engage in it. Let's avoid the whole debate by talking about just maybe pro-social behavior. Pro-social behavior is any act that helps others regardless of our motives, right? So yeah, I might get something out of helping you, but you benefited from the help. And so that's the important thing, is that, I'm doing something that society would smile on, right? Pro-social refers to doing something that helps society or other members of society or something like that. So I'm going to kind of use the word pro-social instead of altruism so I can sort of sidestep this whole debate. We can say that first responders are pro-social because, they are helping other people who need help. Yeah, they might get paid for the hours that they're doing it, but without them, people who need help wouldn't have any help, right? I mean, like that's the definition of pro-social behavior, doing something that is valued by society in some way. You're being nice, you're being helpful, doing something for someone else. Altruism is a distinct subset of pro-social behavior. So, the larger category called pro-social behavior is helping others, doing something good for others. That subset of altruism has that with no expectation of reward, or maybe even to your own detriment. So we're going to talk about just the larger class and not get into the details. Okay, so types of helping. McGuire laid out a model to describe the different ways that we might help people. The first one is casual help. So you ask somebody for directions and they give it to you. That would be casual help. It doesn't really cost you much to give that, right? Maybe you get slowed down on your way to your destination or something, but it's casual. It happens quickly. Probably you don't have to get too intimately involved with the person who you're helping. Those kinds of things. So we call that casual. With substantial help, now you're starting to get a little bit more involved with the recipient. So you've got, lending money or fronting money, like with no expectation of it ever being paid back. Letting somebody live with you while they're, between apartments. Giving a person a ride who is out of your way on the way to work or on the way to school. So, you have to drive several more miles to give that person a ride. But you know that if you didn't give them a ride, they have to walk like a mile to the bus stop or something. And you're like, it's not that hard for me to drive out of my way. I'll do that. But it's substantial. It's not just casual, easy. Emotional help is, supporting somebody who's going through some kind of emotional struggle, psychological issue, something like that, and just being there to be a sounding board or to be a support system, something like that. And then there's emergency help, stopping to help somebody change their tire, or seeing somebody stalled on the side of the road and they actually ran out of gas. So you run into town and get them a gallon of gas or something. Emergency help, right? Where, the person needs to get out of this situation because otherwise it's dangerous or, risky, something like that. So there's these 4 different major types of helping. There we go. All right. Now there's a general truth about helping behavior, about prosocial behavior. We tend to help people that we know and care about more, and we tend to be less helpful to strangers on average, right? Like we are much more likely to give casual help to strangers, or maybe emergency help to strangers, and we tend to give a lot more of the substantial help or the emotional help to people that we know and that we care about, in addition to casual help and emergency help. So there's a little bit more of a commitment, a little bit more of a feeling of needing to be helpful to those that we know and care about, and we can be less helpful to strangers. Now, why are humans helpful at all? Like, if it is in fact going to somehow inconvenience us or cost us something, why are we helpful? Well, one theory for why we're helpful is that we have evolved a tendency towards helpfulness. And there are 2 videos I want you to watch right in a row. The first one shows an animal being helpful, and then the second one shows a baby being helpful. And that both of these situations, right, an animal and a baby, are creatures that probably haven't had a lot of socialization to be helpful. And so this is probably just natural behavior that we can see emerging in an animal, or that we can see emerging in a very young human. So go ahead and watch those 2 videos, and I'll see you on the other side.